November agreement was supposed to last 6 months, but not till 2 months after it was signed, 8 months. It can be extended for another 6 months. We're looking at 14 months. What happens during the 14 months? Their 20% stockpile, half gets oxidized, but it's still 20%. Another half gets diluted and oxidized. More low-enriched uranium is created and stockpiled, albeit in oxidized form. Work on centrifuge technology continues, though certain the centrifuges will not be used. This delays only for a short time when Iran would have a nuclear weapon, because the 20% oxidized uranium can be converted back to gas quite quickly. Iran uses that same technology to convert yellowcake into gaseous uranium. And at the end of this agreement, Iran may be a little bit further than they were in November from their first bomb, but will be closer to a cache of 5 to 10 bombs, because they will have all of the additional low-enriched uranium that they create during the pendency of the deal. The sanctions relief has been very substantial because it's changed the business climate. It's not just the content of the relief. There are loopholes in our existing sanctions laws. Companies have been reluctant to exploit those because they figure the next sanctions law was around the corner. Well, now it's not. And so we see a rush to do business with Iran. The disagreement here in Washington is actually rather modest. There seems to be agreement that we're not adopting new statutory sanctions until July, or at least not letting them become effective until July. The administration significantly has agreed to enforce existing sanctions and would do that even if the Iranians threatened to walk out of the agreement. Secretary Kerry was in this room where your witnesses are sitting now. He agreed that he would continue enforcing the existing law. Within a day, they designated roughly a dozen entities. The Iranians walked out. They came back. So we agree to enforce existing laws. We agree no new laws will become effective until July. So the question is, under what circumstances will new sanctions becoming effective in July go into effect, and who will make that decision? The President alone or the President with Congress? Who will decide that Iran is just engaged in a delay program, or that we've reached sufficient progress? I don't think Congress should surrender this role, because Congress has been right and 3 administrations have been wrong. From 1996 to 2010, Congress didn't enact major sanctions legislation. Why? Because 3 administrations sought so effectively, usually in the Senate, to prevent the adoption of that legislation. Congress was right. The House was more right than the Senate, and Congress was more right than 3 different administrations. Now we're being asked, oh, just don't do anything. Trust the President. He'll do the right thing. The fact is that we're told by the administration we can adopt new sanctions in a nanosecond should we decide that that is important. What he really means is, what the administration means is, we can adopt new sanctions in a nanosecond if the administration agrees with them. But if they don't, their capacity for delay and obfuscation, for dilution and defeat of sanctions has been proven. It was proven effective in 2009. It was proven effective for the 8 years of the prior administration. What are our choices? We can act now and adopt sanctions that will go into effect in July, but also schedule a vote in July where Congress could decide by joint resolution to suspend or prevent the sanctions from becoming effective. And we would do so if adequate progress is made. We can have a compromise approach, write and conference on the sanctions, and schedule a vote, affirmative vote, of both houses of Congress without delay, without filibuster, without obfuscation, without further division between the committees and the houses as to what the content would be, and pass new legislation if warranted in July and soon enough to prevent any pocket veto since we go out in August. The final approach is what I call the narcolepsy approach. Go to sleep until the administration decides to wake us up. Then they say, and then we'll get around to thinking about something in July, because we'll notice that the 6 months, which is 8 months, has passed, At that point, you can be sure that this administration, like the prior two administrations, will be for delay, dilution, and defeat, and we will be in session only a few weeks between the end of July and the end of the year. So Iran will get a full year of relief from sanctions in actually 14 months. I think the one thing for this hearing to establish is that we're not going to adopt the narcolepsy approach, that we're going to have sanctions that Iran will know will go into effect in July if adequate progress determined by Congress is not reached. And with that, I think our negotiators will be far more effective than if Congress is regarded as on vacation. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sherman. And now we go to the chairman.